I don't put my mace and shield down. I just keep staring at him, not looking at Flint. Just fucking asshole who like tried to hit me.
All right, I have cleared the initiative. We're out of battle for the moment. So, as you all put your weapons down and uneasily meet each other's gaze, we fade to black. Flint's hideout. Later that day. You are all kind of, as you all lower your weapons and come to this uneasy truce, he just says, all right, bring him, I guess, motioning down to Nox, and says, follow me this way.
You guys get to carry him.
Yeah.
You started.
Well, if it takes longer than a minute, I'll wake up. So
Yeah, none of them are going to pick him up.
No, I'm talking to the guys that attacked us.
Oh.
They get
I know, like, they're not. He's not their responsibility. They're not going to do it.
It became their responsibility to instance
I keep my mace in my one hand, but I pick Nox up. I'm assuming you don't weigh more than 300 pounds.
No, I don't.
Okay, yeah, I kind of throw you over my, like, like arm over shoulder, and I walk with them until you wake up, or if you wake up right away, I just help you up.
I'm just a minute, so
Yeah.
that's how long the spell
Yeah,
is.
and after about a minute, he comes to you and just.
out for a minute.
I do the spell.
No, I love it. I love it. I fucking love it.
He brings you through the forest for a good 20 minutes to what looks like a pretty solid wall of just tree branches, leaves, vines, all kinds of stuff. He makes a knock in a very specific pattern on one of the nearby trees, and a pair of hands comes through the different foliage and parts it like a curtain, revealing behind it another small clearing which has a couple of larger trees on the perimeters. That have been hollowed out in the middle enough to make small hideaways. These are, large-ish trees. They can easily fit the size of a person, so they have fashioned the inside of these larger trees to be makeshift abodes for now. And the gentleman in the mask gathers his allies around him as he takes off his mask, and you see a person that in no way resembles what is on the wanted posters. This is a young man with golden sandy blonde hair that, as he takes off the mask and pulls down his hood, you can see it comes down just above his shoulders, swept back behind his ears. He's got a couple of pockmarks on his face from probably just some poor hygiene during puberty. And he says, "So, I'm Flint Henwick."
No, you're toe-headed nerd.
You're a nerd.
Toe-headed nerd. What the fuck?
That's something Hingstonians say, I guess.
That
Toe-head is because blonde hair.
And I look at him. I'm like, and
thing.
how do you explain the in no way likeness on all the posters in Arborsdale?
I'm still salty about my fucking coin.
I understand.
Yeah,
I don't stop you at all.
That's why I'm calling him a bitch.
And as you say that, Hingman, he puts out his hand in a kind of reassuring, like halting sort of motion, like, and I completely understand that. I'll return what I stole from you. Just hear me out, all right? And when you asked him the question about the resemblance on the wanted poster, he tells a decent amount of the story, but the others who are around him help fill in other bits that either this person wasn't present for or just was not privy to this information. They relay to you that the young man who stands before you, his name is not actually Flint Henwick. His name is Rudd, and he is a native of Arborsdale. basically, he grew up here. He was born about 3 or 4 years before Lord Blackwell came into power. He was a child, or he is now an orphan. His family, his mother and father, having been arrested and either driven out of town or killed in their reluctance to pay any of the taxes that were coming around. And this instilled this young man with a sense of right and wrong and wanting to rise above the tyranny of Lord Blackwell. So he bided. He was willing to bide his time until he saw fit that he was ready to take a stand actively against Lord Blackwell. And in the past few months, he has found himself to be ready. He specifically has been making nightly sojourns, almost nightly, to Arborsdale. And he's been taking things from the treasury and either redistributing them to their rightful owners or leaving small, like, dead drops of coinage for the people who have been having this money taken from them.
Can I
Stole my money,
can I talk
bitch.
to? Or is this is all him describing this, or
Yeah, he's like 18, 19 years old, and the others are at least a good 20 years older than him, besides the old man who is like got a good 50 years on him. They help fill in some of the history from when this young man was much, much younger, stuff like that. The reason that he's called Flint Henwick and the reason that the poster is so different is because there is no real person named Flint Henwick. It's just a figure from an old folk tale. A highwayman turned hero when he realized that stealing from other bandits was just as easy as stealing from innocent people. So the townspeople kind of lovingly named this figure of rebellion and justice Flint Henwick in honor of that folktale. And he's been kind of running with it, just allowing people to build up his mythos and his legend of, you know, being rarely seen and being so sneaky and stuff. And you get from what they tell you and from what you can observe, Flint is the guy that the rest of these people have chosen to rally behind. Him being a young, charismatic, you know, light on his feet kind of guy. They're all here to help him along in his quest to see vengeance done to this town.
okay? I kind of wait for him to get done with his song and dance preamble, all that, and I look at the older gentleman that knocked Hingman out, and I ask him, and this is your plan, stealing from Lord Blackwell, knowing full well the sort of grip his guards have on the town. You feel this is the proper way to handle this situation?
I want to pipe in. Seems to me that each time you steal from the crown, they just tighten their grips around the throats of the villagers. So are you really doing any good to them?
Also, what good was it stealing from me?
I say, yeah, what?
I'll call you.
The old man looks to both of you, Heskar and Wainwright, and he says, "Firstly, we've been escalating our efforts over the past few months, turning it more from just petty theft into leaving marks and trying to bolster the spirit of the people behind us. I know it seems rather mishmash what we seem to be doing here, but believe me, there is a plan and there is a just intent behind it. Secondly, would you rather us sit back and do nothing while this man writes the laws that allows him to steal from us? I think it only fair that when one is pushed to one's limits, one sees to take action. Wouldn't you agree?
Action is the proper course, but you must realize that having a figurehead, charismatic as he may, and I look at Rudd and I kind of, you know, I'm not convinced. As charismatic as he may seem, you need someone that actually can have a face.
Yeah.
Yes, the wanted posters are certainly a nice flourish, but at the end of the day, you need someone that the people can genuinely see out in the open and rally behind. I look at the boy. I look at Rudd, and you feel you can facilitate this role without that mask.
The mask has been kind of just for show. It's not easy being a figurehead all the time. Sometimes I don't want people to see what I'm really feeling, but I think if a time comes to be that sort of a person, I think I'm ready to take that step. And after he answers you, Heskar, he turns to Hingman and he points and says, "And you were just an easy mark. That's it. Nothing else about it. New in town. I thought I'd try my luck. Didn't know what kind of person you were."
It's because I'm a halfling, isn't it?
Ooh, you don't want to do that,
huh?
Oh God.
I want to reply, "You're an easy mark," and then I cast Hunter's Mark on him.
Very clever.
So we're supposed to
I'm
believe.
just kidding. I don't.
Okay.
I don't want to waste the spell.
We're supposed to believe. Fucking.
Come on, it'd be pretty funny.
Fine, I'll do it.
So
Use
we're.
the spell slot for the Hunter's Mark. You are an easy
He
mark.
Hunter's marks you back.
I just point, click my tongue at him, and like drop my finger like a finger pistol. The hammer coming.
He does. I was actually going to say the exact same thing. He looks at you with double finger guns and.
Just ching.
It dawns
Fucking-
on me that both of them have similar kind of stories, I guess.
Orphans.
Parental issues, wanting to seek justice.
Oh well, you know.
So
I'm starting to warm up to the kid.
I can't imagine
So we're
why.
supposed to believe.
Is this your Dick
That-
Dickerson? What is
No, it's not Richard Richards.
Okay.
So we're supposed to believe that you Rudd the
Hopefully he's on
Dud.
his way to the hideout.
Okay.
I chuckle at that one.
We're supposed.
Well,
You
Yeah.
got me.
We're supposed to believe that you Rudd the Dud is fucking gonna establish some real change in this place and not just turn it into an even shittier fucking town than it already is.
That is true. Whenever there's an uprising, it's usually the zealots and the extremists that try to take control. So how are you going to protect the people from them?
Because they seem to be getting the short end of the stick in this.
Have you seen the town? I don't think there's much room for zealots in our area.
And zealots?
Well, I mean, what zealots in Arborsdale? Like the guards?
Just political extremists in general.
Did we meet anybody like that?
Look,
We didn't,
guards.
but you know, well, besides
Every-
guards. But it's just something
every
that happens
guard-
whenever there's like civil upheaval like that, extremists try to take power.
You read that in Ministries?
I did.
Magistrates and Ministries?
Yes.
You gotta lend me that book sometime.
Maybe.
Okay.
Every guard in that town is on Lord Blackwell's payroll. There's nobody that we can turn to except for ourselves. We, the people, have chosen to take a stand. Maybe some weren't active in that choosing, but I chose to make a stand, and others have followed, as you can see.
If you feel so just in your cause, why haven't you reached for outside assistance? As you know, we could certainly
from
attest.
the guild.
Our
Point at the arm.
organization
I always say that.
takes
Fucking
contracts.
just on my belt, just the guild.
I would if I could. You know who else is on Lord Blackwell's payroll?
Who?
The representative of the guild for Arborsdale.
Well, then he needs to be dealt with.
Who is that?
That guild hall has been under quote-unquote renovations for months.
Who is the guild representative in town?
He doesn't know. He doesn't know the person's name. He's just seen them in passing.
Of course.
So why not send like a fucking carrier pigeon or some shit to a different guild outpost?
Carrier pigeon.
Because what he's doing is legal, is the thing. We can't write to the guild with complaints about how we feel things are unfair, even when they clearly are. The guild still has to operate within laws them as well. They would have no jurisdiction here.
Well, it sounds like you're a little bitch.
Hey, calm down now, Heyman. I think.
I want my goddamn money back.
He's totally willing to give you your money back. They're just getting the important talkies out of the way first.
Well,
I
So-
think I've probably heard enough. It
Well-
sounds like
I guess then answer us this.
riddle me this.
We are
the truth.
part of the guild. What do you expect us to do, if at all, help you in this situation? I mean, we've heard your plight. Clearly, we're willing to listen, but
You do
You
realize
must understand
I'm a
we're-
paladin of Torm, right? There's gross injustice going on in that town, and I am honor bound.
you are
To help.
contract bound by the guild as well.
My honor supersedes contracts.
Blade supersedes honor, and I guarantee you,
Blade Trinity definitely supersedes.
the guild would not take kindly to wanton acts of, illegal activity
Like one
by sworn representatives of the guild. Are
I
you so
see
willing
where
to
you're
throw
coming
away
from.
that?
But when the law becomes unlawful, it becomes my duty to right that.
Well, who's to say that you have to be guild representatives in this matter? And he kind of gives you a knowing look.
I'd look him deadpan in the face. I'm like, you look at me. Do you see what I look like? Right? I point to Hingman. You see what he looks like? I point to Knox. You see what he looks like?
And I'm actually just feeding Crowan with my mouth.
You see what he does. We are not people that blend in with crowds. Clearly that obviously happened in Arborsdale. How do you expect us to not be recognized? We've already established in town that we are from the guild.
Also, we're
We're
not
not
allowed
supposed
in
to.
town anymore.
Well,
got
that's
thrown
besides the
out.
point. I don't want to go in that fucking town sometimes.
Unless I'm like
Grumpy.
Like,
throwing 5 million fireballs.
listen.
How would you handle that situation?
yeah.
I guess what is your course of action that you feel we might be able to assist you with?
Well, just because they might recognize the person doesn't mean they would recognize the station. If you were to disrobe from your guild recognized attire for a time, just to fly under the radar, it would certainly be of large help. You're the first outside help we've had come through that haven't ended up in Lord Blackwell's pocket.
This could
If
if this shit goes sideways though, it could greatly affect our station in the guild.
Agreed.
If it goes the right way, though, it could also greatly bolster your, maybe not your station within the guild, but your standing with an entire populace of a town. I think that's certainly important, isn't it? As well as seeing some justice done.
Ifs and buts, candy and nuts, you
That
know the saying.
Trigger
Fucking-
word at the end there, Justice. That sold you, I bet.
It did.
Knox, what say you?
I'm just surveying everybody's conversation.
I wanted to fucking overthrow this Lord Blackwell guy the instant they tried to interfere with my investigation.
That was really iffy. I'm thinking about everything we went through. I'm like,
I understand.
yeah.
I understand where you're coming from and what you want to do. And I understand the importance of old folk heroes, as I myself throw great stock behind one. But
Ooh, nice.
this whole thing could only create expectations that cannot possibly be delivered upon.
How do you figure?
Well, at the rate you're going right now. I mean, look at what the city has become. The guards are even more on edge because they're looking for you. So they trust nobody, especially outsiders, which we are, no matter what clothes we're wearing. And the population seems to be in fear even more because they don't know what's going to happen if you're going to come in and if this doesn't work, you basically delivered false hope to these people, and it'll just get worse.
Well, from the conversations that you've had with all these people since you've been here, you know that the populace is purposely hiding the fact that they know that somebody's working against Lord Blackwell. They might not know that it is this Rudd person specifically, but like they are actively trying to keep that secret that like, yeah, we know that Flint's a good guy and he's looking out for us, but we're not going to tell anybody that because that would just incriminate us.
That's just more stress on the people, though. Get picking up what I'm putting down, Rudd. The dead.
Here's my offer. Stay the night with us. Spend tomorrow with us. Maybe we can learn from you, maybe you can learn from us, but really all we need here to shake things up is an outside party. We need some element of chaos that they are not expecting. Now whether this ends with Lord Blackwell in chains, exiled, hell, 6 feet under the ground, I don't know. But if you would be willing to lend us your guidance and wisdom, maybe help us come up with a plan, there are many, not only the moral rewards, but many monetary rewards that might be in it for you as well.
Can I insight check him?
Absolutely.
16.
This is a person who long ago gave up most of the semblance of a normal life and spent a lot of his time dedicated solely to the thought of bringing down Lord Blackwell. So in his words to all of you, you can see the earnestness behind it and the almost pleading need for somebody else to step in and help him with this. You get the feeling that he might be a little bit over his head, but he's in portraying this Flint Henwick character, he carries himself as somebody who is very sure of himself, very like Aragorn-ish, he needs to be a leader, he needs to be a figure for these people.
I'm sold.
I will take the night. I kind of lean in close. I kind of look him in the face, just not intimidating, just, as endearing as I can be. And I say, guard yourself from these aspirations of justice and glory. They can quickly change and not only be a detriment to yourself, your cause, and to all the people around you. Power and ambition often can be a very fine line between disaster and victory. And I just kind of just look him in the eye, make sure he got the message, and just.
And then you ponder about what you just said. You're like, wow,
I was like, oh, that's actually pretty good.
You're like,
Man,
wow,
I'm fucking deep.
I was like,
Yeah, his gaze as you're saying this kind of lowers down to the ground in a slightly embarrassed, but also taking in what you're saying and really processing it. And as you're saying this, you can see that the older gentleman who is never very far from Flint's presence is nodding. And when Knox spits, he also gives a hefty spit as well and just nods in approval with what you're saying.
Ooh, I got the vapors.
you got the vapors from the spit. All right, I nod my head.
And
as I kind of walk away from him, is that Dragonborn chick still here?
Yeah, she's like 10, 15 feet behind Flint in the old man.
Can I tell what kind of ancestry she is?
Chroma color she is.
Yeah, you can. And she is of the chromatic coloration. She is a red dragonborn.
Not your cup of tea.
I
Which
look at
probably-
her. I kind of
Racist.
I don't say anything to her. I just look her right in the face. And I give a little kind of gout of smoke out of the sides of my mouth, and I just kind of walk away.
And you see her meeting your gaze, and then when you do that little puff of smoke, she just chuckles to herself and looking back down like, oh, boys will be boys. Goes back to sharpening her sword or the tip of her spear.
Can I tell how old she is? No,
Make
I'm just saying. 'cause
an,
I'm
She's
like
legal.
I'm like 55.
She's legal.
make an investigation check.
It's like she's legal, dude.
She's
I know these.
Legal.
I know these.
I don't fucking know at all. Clearly, I'm not good at that.
Not good with the ladies.
5. I'm so caught up in my own.
That's
speech,
how
I'm
old
just
she is? No.
Jesus Christ.
She's not an adolescent. You know that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just asking because like I'm like in my 50s. I'm actually old. I'm in kind of a crotchety old guy. But whatever. I walk away and
Just whippersnappers.
I don't know.
I'm in my.
I mean, this is
70s, I
like
think.
fucking still like the middle of the night.
Yeah. It's like 1 o'clock right now.
Yeah, I'm tired. I just find somewhere that's like got space, throw my bed out, go to fucking sleep.
Yeah.
In the
sounds
morning.
good.
Yeah.
Well, really quick, one last thing that we'll do for tonight's session, and then we'll wrap it up before you guys all go to sleep. Once you guys are done talking with Flint, and for some reason, I want to keep calling him Flick. You guys finish your conversation with Flint, and he just kind of walks away from the rest of the group. Nobody follows. He goes to the edge of the clearing and leans up against a tree and just looks out into the distance, obviously thinking pretty deeply about some of the stuff that's been said to him. And when he exits, the old man steps in to where Flint was standing and says, I know it was a nasty spot of business before, but I'd like to, again, offer my apologies and my condolences for some of the blows I might have given you. If you would like to follow me, I believe that we have somewhat of a, well, hell, it's a bribe.